Hey everybody, bet you want to know, what did you miss on day 24 of the Karen Reed trial? Did you really miss a lot? Not really. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to break it down, and you're going to hear it in just a few minutes what you missed. You didn't have to sit through the entire day. I'm going to let you know right after this intro. Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you are new, please consider subscribing. This is the show where I recap live trials, but I'm also a crafter, and you listen to these trials while I'm crafting. So also a thumbs up. It will help my algorithm. Yep, YouTube could push it out to more people, and I really do appreciate when you guys do that. So what happened on day 24 of the Karen Reed case? Well, the defense started their case in chief. Now, Karen Reed's on trial for second-degree murder of her boyfriend, John O'Keefe. She alleges that she dropped him off at a house party after they had already been out drinking, two different hot spots in town. They were both intoxicated. She drops him off. She doesn't see him again for several hours when she finds him deceased in the snow in front of that house. The prosecution's theory of the case is that she, when he got out of the vehicle, she backed into him. He hit the ground. He died of a massive head injury and hypothermia. Have they proven their case? They rested their case after Dr. Welcher gave his opinion. Now, I don't know if I mentioned Dr. Welcher is the accident reconstruction guy, the one that did have a degree, a doctorate degree in biomedical engineering. Anyway, his opinion was relying solely on the data produced to him by Shannon Burgess, the other accident reconstruction guy with the associate's degree, the one that actually pulled the data and put together the data. So we're going to get into that. That's important for this first witness. So the day started out with the arguments for, once the state rests their case, or the Commonwealth in Massachusetts rests their case, the defense has an opportunity to argue a motion. I call it a motion for judgment of acquittal. In the state of Massachusetts, it's called a motion for, what did he call it? Motion for not guilty, based on whatever rule it was. It's the same thing. They're arguing that in the light most favorable to the Commonwealth, they have not proven beyond a reasonable doubt that Karen Reed hit John O'Keefe with her vehicle, that there was a collision. And this was their argument. They have not proven that there was a collision. They proved that there was a backing up that maybe injured his arm. The arm didn't kill him, guys. It was a head injury that killed him. At no time do we ever hear an expert argue that, a plaintiff expert argue that backing up of the vehicle caused him to hit his head on the ground. No, it caused the arm injury is what they were saying. I mean, there are other possibilities here. Maybe he hit his arm on the vehicle and then wandered around for a little while, intoxicated, and fell over and hit his head. Who knows? Who knows? That's just as likely under that scenario. So what did those experts prove? Not much. Anyway, he also argued there were no witnesses to this backing up of the vehicle. We heard from Jen McCabe, and Jen McCabe said she was watching out that front window the whole time, and she saw Karen Reed park initially, move forward once, and then move forward again, and then leave. She never saw Karen Reed backing up. Now, we also know that there was a truck parked out there with 3 people in it. They were there to pick up someone from the house party. Nobody there saw anybody backing up the vehicle. So, did that really occur? All we know is that there was a backing up of that vehicle. It could have, the timing of it is really key, I guess. But we don't know that that's when it occurred. It could have occurred after this, a day, 2 days, 10 days after. We don't know. Nobody knows for sure. Okay. So they made that argument, and that there was no collision. They haven't proved that there was even a collision. So, but the judge heard argument. She came back. She denied it very quickly. And like I said, 99.9% of the time they're always denied. So this one was denied, and the defense is beginning their case. So they put on their accident reconstruction expert. Now, his name is Matthew DeSogra. Now, he's got a degree. He has a degree. Let's not worry about that. He does have the background and education to support this. But he wasn't hired in this case to conduct an accident reconstruction. He was hired in this case to review Shannon Burgess's data, Mr. Associate's degree's data, and the opinion based on that data of Dr. Welcher, the plaintiff's expert. So he reviewed that, and some of the criticisms that he had of this was what I told you was very non-scientific, the blue paint test. Yeah. So first of all, you bought a Lexus, you have one exemplar. You can recreate it one time with an Lexus that's similar to this other Lexus, but it's not going to happen every time. And in a scientific method, you don't just use one and done. You recreate it on several different Lexuses to see if you're going to get the same thing. If it is always a thing with Lexuses. No, he didn't do that. He just used one. And I do understand what they said. And I said when he did this test, it was not scientific at all. So this expert did agree with that. Then he said, Burgess used the 3-point turn as one possibility of where you could match up the time of John's watch and the time on the Lexus. He goes, there were 30 other possibilities. And in 25 out of those 30 possibilities, the timing of the lock of John's phone, John locks his phone, occurs after that turning, that backup, which would mean he was still alive. He hadn't hit his head yet. You don't hit your head and then have massive head injury and then lock your phone. In only 3 of the other ones, of the other possibilities, did the locking event occur before the backing up. So there's 30 different possibilities here. So again, it doesn't mean there was a collision. It just means he backed up. Yeah. Okay. And additionally, he said there was a total of 19 tech stream events that they pulled off the infotainment center of the Lexus. And some of those events were analyzed: the 3-point turn, the backing up, the starting at the engine, the turning off of the engine. 11 of those occurred after the backing up event. So, were they accurate? Were they not accurate? Who knows? Who knows? Okay. That was it. That was it. Now he does get cross-examined by Mr. Brennan, and he was very agreeable with Mr. Brennan. He wasn't trying to be something he's not. If he wasn't going to argue with him, he just kept his cool. And you're not this, you're not that. No, I'm not. And you didn't try to recreate this accident, this collision. No, I was just hired to review the data, and if that data is wrong, then my report's wrong. If I relied on your expert's data, which Dr. Welcher also relied on your expert's data. So if your expert Mr. Associate's degree data is not correct, then neither of our reports are correct, Dr. Welcher's or mine. So they were just really throwing Burgess under the bus here. So anyway, at the end of the day, after this witness, the defense wants to get into evidence the text messages of Michael Proctor, but apparently doesn't want to call Michael Proctor. Now, I would call him. Why not? The Commonwealth didn't call him. It looks to the jury like, oh, what are they hiding? Why are they not calling the lead investigator, Michael Proctor? And they already know that something happened, that he got fired because of something that happened with this case. But the reasons that he got fired have not come in front of the jury. And they're not supposed to come in front of the jury. In any case, they argued the way the defense wants to bring in these text messages is because the text messages occur on this large chain. There's like 10 people on this chain of text messages chain. And they're all like old friends from high school and, whatever. They're all good buddies and they've been texting each other for years. Just between 2018 and 2022, there's like 38,000 text messages between all of these people. So the defense wants to bring in someone who doesn't remember these text messages, the ones that are in question in this case, and didn't really take part in that particular part of the text chain. But this is what the defense wants to do. They want to get him in there, get these text messages, in order to get these text messages into evidence, they have to be authenticated somehow. It has to show that it came from this person and it went to these people, and the best way to do that is to have Michael Proctor, this is your email, right? This is your text. This is you texted this, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, so they want to get it. So what they did was they put this witness on the stand outside the presence of the jury. They asked him the questions that they would use to get that text message chain authenticated. Make sure it's valid. It's not hearsay. It's coming in. It's not coming in for the truth of the matter asserted. So it is hearsay. No question about it. It's hearsay. But it's coming in to show the state of mind of Michael Proctor, the bias that he had. Now, of course, the prosecution had argument that it shouldn't come in and that it shouldn't come in through this witness, that he can't authenticate it. And so they had those arguments back and forth. This morning, first thing, the judge indicated that she was going to allow the authentication of those text messages through this witness, and they put him on first thing. And as we speak, he is reading those text messages to the jury. So tomorrow's episode is going to be really interesting because we're going to get to hear what was in those text messages. And there's some juicy stuff in that text message chain. Enough that, Michael Proctor lost his job as a Massachusetts State Police officer. Yeah. So I will see you for that tomorrow, and we'll play it by ear with the Lori Vallow-Daybell case. They are finalizing jury selection this morning. Hopefully we will get to opening statements today. Like I said, if they do, maybe I'll go live, look for a pop-up. If not, I'll recap them for you tomorrow. Take care. Bye, everybody.